Welcome to segment number 3. Question number 3, we are dealing with analytical geometry, and it starts with a grade 12 content. The question, it reads in the diagram below, O, a circle with the center O at the origin, they touches the tangent at P. The coordinates T, which is -3 and 5, is a point on the circle. The first question, it says determine the coordinates of P. The coordinates of P, you are just going to rotate the coordinates of T. You're going to rotate them at the rotation of 180 degrees up to this point here. So when you rotate those points, they are just going to be the same. They're not going to change. However, you need to be logical when you are changing your points. You need to note that on the fourth quadrant here, the values of x are positive, so 3 is going to change and become positive, and then y on the fourth quadrant here is negative, so you're going to have -5 there. So the coordinates of P, you don't have to do any formal calculations, just rotate the points and then change the signs. So it's going to be 3 and -5. Those are the points at P. The second question says determine the equation of the circle. Equation of the circle, we know it is x squared plus y squared. It is equal to r squared. You can use the coordinates of P, or you can use the original coordinates that were given to you there of T. For the sake of accuracy, use the coordinates that were given on the diagram, not the one that you found. So the coordinates of T is -3 and 5. That's what I'm going to use. So I'll have my -3 all squared and 5 all squared. It is equal to r squared. So that will mean my r squared will be 9 plus 25. Put that in the calculator. If your arithmetic is not make sure like mine, 9 plus 25, this gives us 34. So that means our r squared, it is equal to 34. Therefore, the equation of the circle then, x squared plus y squared, it is equal to 34. That is the equation of the circle right there. The second question, 3.1.3, says determine the equation of a tangent at P. So what do we know? We know that the coordinates at P were given as 3 and -5. So they wanted the equation of a tangent at P. Since the circle is at the origin, we don't have to stress that much. We can just go and use our special formula. X multiplied by x1 plus y multiplied by y1. All of that, it is equal to r squared. What is our x is 3. So this is going to be 3x minus 5y. This is equal to r squared, it is given as 34. Then make y the subject of the formula in this case. So minus 5y, it is equal to minus 3x plus 34. And then you divide everybody here by -5. Also this part by -5. Also this part by -5. That means y will be equal to 3 divided by 5x minus 34 divided by 5. So that will be the equation of a tangent to the circle. Now, moving on to the next page. Then it says the equation of an ellipse is given by. So it's given by x squared divided by 4. Y squared divided by 16, it is equals to 1. Then they say sketch the graph. Now, before you can sketch the graph, make sure that you rewrite this formula in a standard form. So when you write it in the standard form, it's going to be x squared divided by 4. You just take the square root of 4, which is 2. Then you're going to have 2 squared plus y squared divided by 16. The square root of 16 is 4, so you're going to be having 4 squared. All of that, it is equal to 1. So 2 squared, it's still 4, it didn't change. 4 squared, it's still 16, it didn't change. We just wrote it in a standard form. So under the x-axis, it's 2. So I'll have my 2, let me put it here, 2 there, and then Let me have it again here, -2. Make sure that the distance you give on the left and the distance you give on the right, they are equal. These are your x-axis and your y-axis. Not necessarily that you have to count the blocks, but if you do count the blocks, it will really help. Hence, everything else is going to be as accurate as possible. But if you are not using the blocks, make sure that the distance you give is the same distance you give on the other side. Here I chose 3 blocks and I put 2, another 3 block I chose. It gave me 2. So going upwards for the y-axis for 4, I can count 5 blocks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Somewhere there I can have 4, and then also 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So somewhere there as well I can have my -4. 2 and 4, they are not equal, so they cannot be equidistant from each other. So that is why 4, it has more blocks than 2. In any way, I think we all know what we are doing now. You're just joining all of those points together. Freehand, guys, freehand. You don't have to use any your EGD instrument. Just a simple freehand drawing, and then you have sketched the graph right there. Okay, let us proceed with the rest of the question. Question number 4. Use first principle to determine f prime of x, provided that f of x is given as -0,5 minus 0,8x. Now this one is given in decimal. You can, if you want, to put it in a calculator and have it in a fraction format, but let's just work with what is given here. So firstly, f of x is given as -0,5 minus 0,8x. So I'm going to have to find my f of x plus h. My f of x plus h is -0,5 minus 0,8 into x plus h. So where you see x, you're going to replace it by x plus h. So your f of x plus h is -0,5 minus 0,8x minus 0,8h. So this is what you're going to have. And then your formula for first principle is given in the formula sheet. Please copy the formula correctly. So your f prime of x, it is equal to the limit as h approaches 0. Then you write as f of x plus h minus f of x, and then you divide everybody there by h. So your f prime of x, it is equal to lim of h approaching 0. Your x plus h is this one here that you just created. So you take it as it is and then you substitute -0,5, -0,8 x, -0,8h. Put the brackets minus, put the brackets so that you do not get your signs wrong. -0,5 minus 0,8x. Close the brackets there, and then you divide everybody here by h. Then your f prime of x equal to the lim of h approaching 0. Then remove the brackets. -0,5 minus 0,8x minus 0,8h. Negative and negative is positive 0,5, positive 0,8x. And then you divide everybody here again by h. Now here's the fun part. Everybody must cancel each other now and be left with something. So let's see. If you go into your statement, you'll notice 0,5 and 0,5. One is positive, one is negative. So they cancel. 0,8, 0,8. One is positive, one is negative. So they cancel. And then they give us 0. So you'll be left with -0,8h divided by h. Then h and h, they divide against each other. The final answer is -0,8 right there. That is our final answer there. Okay, Moving on into the last part of the question paper, 4.2, determine dy over dx if y is given as negative x squared 5 minus x. So before we can find the derivative of this function, firstly, let us simplify. So it's going to be negative 5x to the exponent of 2. Negative and negative, they give us positive x to the exponent of 3. You just multiply everybody by x, and then now you can find the derivative. Dy over dx is going to give us negative 10x, and then the derivative of this one is going to give us positive 3x to the exponent of 2. Done. You move on. And then now, the difficult one. Let's analyze the question and then see if we can answer the question. They say that the equation of a tangent to the curve, which curve? This is the curve. The equation is given by this. So this equation here, the one that I'm circling, is a tangent to this curve. Ne? And then if the point of contact is 1 and negative 4, you know that tangent, it means that they are touching the curve at exactly one point there. So if the point of contact there, it is 1 and negative 4, calculate the values of P and Q. Okay, no problem. So first, we are given the equation of a tangent y, it is equals to x plus 2. From this equation, one thing you need to notice is the gradient, the value of m, gradient. Ne? So you know that the gradient of this graph, it is equal to 1. Here is your gradient, it's given as 1. That is your gradient. So what does this mean? It means that the derivative of the function of f of x will be equal to the gradient 1. Because when you are finding the derivative, you are finding the gradient. So if I differentiate the function of f, the derivative of this function is going to be 2px. That will be the derivative of px squared plus qx, which is going to give us q. So it means that if the gradient is 1, that means the derivative of this graph, the whole thing here, is going to be 1. So that means my 2px plus q will be equals to 1, where x, it is equal to 1. This x here, that is x, it is equal to 1. So I'm going to substitute. So I'll have 2p into 1 plus q there, it is equal to 1. So that means my 2p plus q, it is equal to 1. So allow me to make q the subject of the formula here. So I'll have q equals to 1 minus 2p. So I'll call this equation number 1. Right. Now let's create equation number 2. Equation number 2, I'm going to take my points as they are, and then I'm going to substitute them into this equation. This one here, it represents y value. This one is our x value. So I'm going to put them here. Where I see y, I'm going to replace it by negative 4. So negative 4, it is equal to p into x is 1. So it's going to be 1 squared. And then plus q into 1. So what does this simplify to? Negative 4, it is equal to p plus q. But what is q? Q is 1 minus 2p. So therefore, I'm going to substitute here. I'm going to substitute equation number 1 into this equation. Let me change the color there. So I will have negative 4, it is equal to p plus, and then q, where I see q, I'm going to replace it by 1 minus 2p. Then immediately upon substitution, I only deal with one variable. So minus 4, it is equal to p plus 1 minus 2p. Then you take 1 to the other side, it becomes negative. So it's going to be negative 5 is equal to p minus 2p. We took 1 to the other side. And then p minus 2p becomes negative p. Negative p, it is equal to negative 5. And then that means p, it is equal to 5 when you divide everybody here by -1. Once you find P to be -5, and then you go and find your Q using this formula here. So I'm going to say, therefore, my Q, it is equal to 1 minus 2P, P being 5. Then your Q, it is equal to 1 minus 10, and that means Q, it is going to become -9. And that is your answer there. And that is your answer there. And that brings us to the end of this segment. Please make sure that you practice until everything else becomes perfect. Practice until you can get it wrong. Thank you very much.